Hey everybody, it's me Edward Jones, back with a new video. This hat's on, so you know what it means. How to save young black boys. This is an idea that popped up in my mind it's actually some time ago. My phone, I just got a text. I got some Doom sound effects to go off when my phone receives messages or I get a call. But anyway, Um, I've had this thought in my head for some time. Going back to maybe about last year, there was a video that I watched by Oshay Duke Jackson, where it was about the topic was should black men go back to black communities and uh, help these young men. And I left a comment. If I can find that video, I'll put the link in the description box. But I left a comment there that ties in with this video. I have an idea on how to save young black boys from a life of crime, from a life where their potential would be squandered, being involved in nefarious activities. How to save these boys from ending up in a situation where they spend their whole life blaming others for their misfortunes, not wanting to take responsibility for their actions, not wanting to work, not wanting to um, push themselves to be something greater than what their current environment dictates that they ought to be. I'm going to be called Daniel Kuhn for this one, definitely. Oh, and by the way, I got a comment about why I call myself Daniel Kuhn. And simply put, I was called a coon basically for expressing a different opinion that goes against the narrative. And I decided that, you know what, I got this hat, and I like trolling, I like trolling the right people, so I figured I'd throw it back at him, with the name Daniel Kuhn. Back on the topic. Um, I found out a way on how to rescue these young black men. Since it seems like a lot of things are stacked against them. Um, no one's being honest with them. No one is being truly supportive of them. No one's really trying to save them. But I have an idea that I believe will save, not if not all, most young black boys, young black men from a life of crime, from a life of destitute, from a life of just misery, a wasted life. I have an idea on how to save them from that, and it's not going to be pretty. The idea I have is this: these boys would have to be removed from broken homes, physically removed, and they had to be placed in placed in a family structure that instills elements of masculinity, instills order, um, that teaches them hard work, that that will cultivate the right qualities that we hope to see in them as they become men. Now back to what I said earlier, removing them from their broken homes. I did a video a while back called "Broken Homes at SACF," where I laid the blame on a lot of social ills, and some people disagreed with me. It's fine. I expect that, so a conversation can be had. But I put a lot of blame on single motherhood and a lot of the issues that arise from it. Boys that stay in, and I've grown up witnessing this. Boys that stay in single mother households. I'm specifically single mother households. They grow up they grow up immature. They grow up effeminate. They have a hard time adjusting to a lot of difficulties that are out there in the real world. They don't know how to take responsibility for their actions. They always want to pass the buck onto someone else. They don't want to take the initiative and actually get up and do things that are actually beneficial to their future, beneficial to their well-being. Because part of it is they've been conditioned by their single mothers to not take responsibility. They learn all that from them. they're not taking responsibility for their actions, so the sons pick up on that. You know, maybe someday I'll do a video on daughters, but I think I have to get more, talk to a few more people that I know, get a little more information about the matter. But I know about boys, so they pick up a lot of these bad qualities from their single mothers because there was no father in the house to keep the mother in check, which in turn keep the children in check. Specifically right now in this discussion, we talk about the boys, and I say that with confidence because now, as I mentioned before, my dad was in prison through practically all my childhood, and I I decided, I left when I reached the age of 12. I left New York and moved to South Carolina to live with my grandparents. Now, both my grandparents were born in 1937. I was born in 1989, so it was quite a task for them to have to raise a teenager, and while they're in their, in the start of their waning years, and it was a task for me because I wasn't used to that. Now I've been with my grandparents for I've been there for this. I spent time with them during the summer back as far back as when I was maybe 3 or 4 years old. I spend the summer with them, come back to New York. But when I finally decided to, I wanted to live with my grandparents. I wanted to go to school in South Carolina. I didn't want to live in New York anymore. It was quite an experience for me. One thing I can say is that living with my grandfather, he is someone who did not, and I got a couple of friends, they see this video, they're gonna laugh. He was someone who did not repeat himself. If he ever had to repeat himself, I was in trouble. I better have a reason as to why I didn't do what he told me to do. He'd come in and he'd come and say, "Why didn't you do this? What are you doing? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do what I told you to do?" If I didn't have a legitimate reason as to why I was stalling, I was in big trouble. I was in hot water. So, when he came to me and asked that question, I had to get my ass in gear and get up and do what he told me to do. I learned hard work. He taught me to go out. If you want something, you work hard, you get it for yourself. Don't waste your time playing around. One thing he didn't like was I used to spend my allowance money on car models. But not all the time. I was also pretty thrifty. I was a pretty frugal kid at the time. I spent money on car models because I knew I can turn this into a skill that would help me out in the future, which is why you see these videos of me working on my Chevy truck. And he instilled discipline in me. He helped me to learn how to follow instructions, how to look for certain qualities in other men above me to see if they were teaching something that was correct. Now he wasn't he didn't he made some mistakes here and there. I will say that, but all in all, it did me a service. It did me a great service to leave the neighborhood that I was living in before to move with my grandparents. And I actually wound up carrying out a lot of the same qualities my grandfather had in my day-to-day life. I'm pretty sure anybody from my job who may see this video, they recognize I'm someone. I got a reputation. I got a reputation of being a hard ass. But I'm fair and I'm understanding. And I go to bat for anyone that who I work with, who works below me. Now, with that being said, it took me actually leaving that environment, and that's the solution I propose for saving young black boys, or any young man, and who maybe find themselves in a situation like that, where they're in not just a broken home, but a dysfunctional broken home. And what would truly save them is to actually be removed from that environment, removed from their mothers, because they spend too much time around their mothers. They're going to adapt those same negative qualities that their mother possessed, and they'll either be extremely they'll either be effeminate to where uh, I guess their behavior and sexuality is questioned, or they as I use a line in the past. If you want to test an object, you want to test a metal, apply pressure. You want to test a man, apply pressure. When these men are under pressure, when these boys are under pressure, as they grow older and become young men, they fold and they lash out. They don't know how to handle um, tough situations. Um, they don't have the fortitude to stand up when when the heat gets turned up. And these are things that I learned, living with living with my grandparents, being taught with my grandfather as well as my uncle and many male employers I had. Um, I worked for men who, and I've had male teachers who helped reinforce the same things that my grandfather taught, and they were things that you know were done. They were done to keep me in line. They were done to keep me standing up straight. They were done so I could be considered a man as I go out into the world. That I'd be someone that people can actually say, well, he has a reputation of he has these good qualities within him, and we can see that in him, from his walk, from the way he talks, the way he treats people, and he can be seen as being dependable. He's still human, but he's a he has good qualities within him that that lends him some credit. I had one of my history teachers in high school was the first person to call me a conservative. He said 'cause I dressed well, compared to the other students, I dressed well. I worked hard. I was always eager to work and do things in class. I had a male employer from when I was in high school said I was one of the best male employees he's ever had because it was bumpy at times, but I was someone who he saw that being um, someone who was competent, someone who had drive, someone who wanted to push himself to do a good job, even during tough times. And I owe a lot of that to the things I learned from my grandfather and to a lot of things I learned from many of the other men that I learned underneath. I have a stammer, sorry. And I think that's what will be needed to um, save boys, especially young black boys, from the dysfunctional behavior of their mothers, because they've clearly made mistakes that have such repercussions. We can see it in how we can see it in a lot see a lot in the behavior of young black men nowadays. I'll even include it. And it's funny because when I came up with the idea for this video, I just watched another video about Oshay, and I'll include a link to that video about a situation that a young man is in. Um, I'll include the link. I'll include the video. I'll include the link to the video in the description box. You guys see it for yourself. And it's I think that's something that can really put a dent in that problem. You know, this problem of black men have having this reputation of being wild, being foolish, being combative, not respecting authority, not taking responsibility for their actions, wanting to pass blame, wanting to play the victim, being effeminate. All that I believe stems from the negative qualities they picked up from their mothers. There, I said it. I'm pretty sure that I may lose subs for making this video, but so be it. I'm on here sharing my viewpoints, and if anyone wants to dispute it, please do so. That's why I do these videos. I welcome to hear other people's opinions, so that a discussion can be made, and maybe in our personal lives, or maybe we know someone who may be facing the same situation, we can somehow lend them a helping hand. Maybe see if we can rectify the situation. But that's the video. Please tell me what you think. Do you think the video was you think it's a good topic to discuss? Do you think I'm full of shit? Please let your voice be heard. Leave a comment in the comment section or make a video response. I want to say thank you to those who have stuck it through my channel for this long. Amidst the various topics I discuss. Even though I sporadically make videos, I'll try to keep a try to have like a kind of rhythm going on how often I do videos. Maybe I don't know, maybe one or two a week. See how that works out. I just always want to make sure I have something good to talk about in front of the camera. Grab some complaints, send me a PM. See what I can do to resolve any issues. Like I said, check out the links in the description box. They'll delve more into this topic, so to kind of give you more of an insight on how I came to that conclusion. But that's my video. How to Save Young Black Boys. I'm Edward Jones, aka Daniel Kuhn, and you guys take care.